Hello beautiful people, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Kat and I'm here in my small but lovely hotel room in Tokyo, Japan. I'm super excited to be here. This is my first time coming back now that the restrictions have lifted, but I've noticed there are a few things that are a little bit different to what I expected. So without further ado, here are my top 5 tips if you're visiting Japan now that the restrictions are lifted. And just to let you guys know, this is coming from an Aussie perspective, so maybe different if you're from somewhere else in the world, but I'm sure you can still get something out of this. So yeah, let's go. Okay guys, so tip number 1, if you're coming to Japan, you're going to need a face mask. Now, I know in some places in the world, like for instance in Australia, face masks are not really a thing anymore, you don't have to wear them. But here in Japan, everyone has still got them on. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're indoor or outdoor, everyone's got their face covered, so best thing to do is to just bring your own and wear it as soon as you get off the plane, or if you don't have any, you can purchase them from like 7-Eleven or any of the department stores, anything like that. Everyone sells them. But yeah, Japan has always been a culture that has embraced masks, so even before 2020, if you're feeling unwell, you definitely see everyone, especially like on the trains, wearing a face mask. So don't be that one tourist who thinks that, you know, oh, I'm better than this, I don't need to wear one, because people will stare at you and it is a bit disrespectful, you know, to come to another country and not follow their customs. So yeah, definitely recommend bringing your own face masks or buying some cute ones when you're here, because you are going to wear them. Alrighty guys, tip number 2, and this one is actually a little bit sad, but a lot of tourist restaurants here in Tokyo have shut down since the pandemic. Now, a great example of this is Genki Sushi. This used to be smack bang in the middle of Shibuya, and it no longer exists. It's been replaced by Japanese barbecue. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense, you know, no one's been coming in all this time, and these tourist restaurants, they really need people in to make their money and pay their rent. So yeah, I think a lot of these places, they've shut down, and now in their place, there are places that are more geared towards Japanese people. Makes sense, they're the ones who've been here to make the money. So yeah, I think if you're coming to Japan, just be aware that some of these places may have shut down, so you may have to change your expectations and try something new, which is really not a problem because I mean, especially here in Tokyo, the place is packed with different restaurants and activities and things to do, so you definitely will be busy. You won't have to worry about not having anywhere to go. Okay, tip number 3, and this one was a little bit unexpected for me, but cash is still really important here in Japan. Now, I think back at home, probably about 90% of businesses have everything on card nowadays. You know, I never really have any cash in my wallet, but when you come and visit Japan, you're definitely gonna need some spare change if you're gonna do things like, you know, get drinks from the vending machine, or if you're gonna get train tickets, you know, the purikura photo booth. A lot of these things all rely on 100 yen little coins. So if you don't have any of those, you're gonna be in a bit of a pickle. So yeah, if you don't have cash at home, you know, if you don't want to exchange money, you can always just get money out here at the ATM. But I definitely recommend having at least a few thousand yen in cash on you, because, you know, some places it's just a bit easier just to whip out a 1,000 yen bill and pay like that. Sometimes, especially if you don't have great Japanese, communication can be a bit difficult if you're trying to pay with your card. And yeah, a lot of businesses, they still accept cash. A lot of people, like locals, are still using cash. And I know that's a bit counterintuitive, especially after the pandemic, you know, everything's gone cards and everything's cashless. But yeah, here in Japan, cash is definitely still a thing. So if you're coming, make sure you have some or get some out at the ATM. So tip number 4, and this one kind of runs off the cash one, and it's to do with the Australian dollar to the Japanese yen. So at the moment, the Australian dollar is actually very strong. So it's definitely worthwhile if you got the chance. And if you're thinking about coming to Japan in the near future, definitely lock in the rate at the moment. You can do that by going to, you know, a cash money exchanger and getting some Japanese yen. Or if you've got a travel card, that's what I do. You can actually go in there and, you know, convert the currency so you get the good rate as it is at the moment, because I have a feeling once the borders open and, you know, everything kind of goes back to normal, the rate will probably start going down and the Japanese yen will become a lot stronger. So yeah, if you're planning on visiting, even if, you know, it's not for a while, you're still, you know, thinking about coming next year or something like that, definitely lock in the rate right now, because it will mean that you're going to get more bang for your buck, and when you're traveling, that's definitely a good thing. Okay guys, and finally, tip number 5. Now this one has to do with booking accommodation, and even if you're not planning on visiting for a few months or even till next year, go online now and book your accommodation ASAP. And the reasoning behind this is a lot of places, especially here in Tokyo, they still have really good discounts on their room rates. I was having a look at Hostel World and I found a few places that still have 50% discount, which normally is unheard of in the hotel world. So definitely get on those, because I feel like they will disappear very fast. And a lot of these places, the discounted rates have free cancellation. So I mean, there's no harm in booking. Even if your trip doesn't end up happening, at least, you know, you tried and you had some options there. And again, if you can save money, why not? I mean, that's what I would do. So yeah. Alright, so we are at the end of the video, and I'm just gonna recover the 5 tips I have if you're visiting Japan in the near future now that the restrictions have lifted. So tip number 1, you need to wear a face mask still. I don't think that's gonna change anytime soon. Tip number 2, a lot of your favorite restaurants, they may have shut down. It's okay, you'll find a new one. Tip number 3, cash is still really essential here in Japan, so you're gonna need some cash on you. Make sure you get some out before you leave or get some at the ATM. Tip number 4, Australian dollar at the moment is very strong against the Japanese yen. So if you can convert some currency, I think it's a wise thing to do. And the last tip, tip number 5, book your hotel now, ASAP if you can, because there's still lots of really great discounts and I think they're gonna disappear very fast. Anyway guys, thanks for joining us. I know this is a little bit different to our usual food review videos, but I think these tips are worth it if you're visiting Japan. Hopefully you have an amazing trip, and we'll see you next time for another awesome food or travel video. See you guys.